back brewing in the kitchen again. Some of you might have seen one of the first videos I did years ago, one of the ones that's still online anyway, about extract brewing. It was a Cooper's Recipe of the Month kit, hop gobbler, and that turned out alright. And I've been very busy, as you would imagine, with 2 children and a wife on maternity leave. So I haven't had much chance to brew outside. I have brewed, I've got a lager in there, but everybody knows how long a lager takes to ferment. It's probably been 3 or 4 weeks in the fermenter as it is. It's nearly ready to transfer, but I thought I'd do another extract just to get some beer moving in the pipelines. Now this is a Cooper's Recipe of the Month. For this month, when I'm filming this, Cooper's Hop Slam IPA, and we'll have a quick look and see what's in the box. You don't have to buy one of these kits. You can buy them separately at your home brew store, but we'll have a look. Alright, first on top there was some hops, 25 grams of Topaz and 25 grams of Galaxy. If you can't get these, I will put substitutions, a link down there to sell it, guys. I'll put up the substitutions you can use. Cooper's IPA. Now, if you can't get the Cooper Selection IPA, anything like a Muntons or whatever local brew kit you can get that's an IPA that's around the 2 kilo mark, should be fine. 2 kilos, what's that, 4 pounds, something like that? It's not quite that, but anyway. And it also comes with 2 packs of light dry malt, which that means there's a kilo of light dry malt in it, of course. They also give you some carbonation drops, which we're not going to use right now. It comes with some instructions, very straightforward. This recipe shouldn't take any longer than half an hour at the most to make. Anyway, let's get to it. First thing you do, of course, is remove the lid and put your yeast aside. I am going to use the Cooper's yeast this time. Just for a change. I haven't used a Cooper's yeast for a long time, and I thought, bugger it, I'll give it a go. Take the lid off, get rid of that, get rid of the instructions, and you want to soak this in hot water for about 10 minutes, just to loosen it up. It's not necessary, but it does help with pouring it into the fermenter. There's the can there, just in some hot water. That just helps soften up the liquid malt. So while that's soaking in some hot water to soften up a bit, you have your fermenter. I've got everything I need in here. The spoon, plastic mixing spoon, the airlock. Just give it a swirl around, run it through the tap, and she'll be ready to go. That's just a sanitizer in there. I'm not actually using Star San today, but it is exactly like Star San. It's a phosphoric acid sanitizer. Exactly the same as Star San, just cheaper. And I've also put 2 litres of water in the kettle, or the jug, which is about 2 quarts, to boil. So I've just emptied the Star San out of here. I left my spoon in there, I don't bother taking it out. The spoon's still in there. Alright, so here we go. Sanitised fermenter. I start with a jug, about 1 litre of cold water in the bottom. I found it's better with cold water, you don't get the steam that'll clog up your light dry malt as you put it in. Light dry malt, just get your spoon out of the way. The other packet as well, that'll make a kilo. Like that, a bit more in there. Then I've got my jug, which has about 2 quarts of recently boiled water. Give that a stir. You can pick the fermenter up and swirl it around if you like.
Now you will find there's lumps. It's not 100% crucial to get all the lumps out. The yeast will end up eating it anyway, but you don't want any big lumps. You know. Still got a fair bit of mixing to go on yet. They'll get broken up. Now next thing to go in is the can of Cooper's IPA. I'm just going to take this off since it's coming off, and make sure your hands are clean and been dipped in the sanitizer or something. In it goes. It'll pour fairly easily since it's warm. There'll always be a bit in, you can give a bit of a nudge. These are a good kit, the Cooper's IPA. The couple of bucks extra you pay for the International Series is usually worth it. Or the I should say the Selection Series. There we go, that'll do. Give that a good stir. Now I'm going to top this up with cold water, just straight from the tap, to about the 18 litre mark. Now it's winter here, so my groundwater is really cold. It's probably about 13 degrees. So I'm not going to need water out of the fridge. But if you think you are going to need water out of the fridge, put some water in the fridge the night before, like you've seen in my other videos. And get it nice and cold. Same again too, if you think you're going to have to warm it up while you're filling it up, put a couple of litres back in the kettle to heat up, so you've got hot water at the end to adjust your temperatures. So we're at the 18 litre mark now. Just give that a good stir. So we're at 18 litres and we're 21.4 degrees. It suggests to ferment at 21. So I'm going to add another 2 litres of cold and maybe a litre of warm, then we'll see where we're at. We're doing this to 21 litres. So there's about another 2 litres or 2 quarts of cold. Give that a stir. We'll see where we're at. And you can use any sort of thermometer, stick it in. I just haven't got one hanging around at the moment. Sanitize it, put the end in if you have to, and you'll be right. It actually only went down a couple of points. So I'm just going to use another litre of cold, and that'll be at the 21 litres where we want it. As I said before, if it was coming up too cold, add some hot water. You just want it around the 21 degree mark for this. I'm following the recipe to a T this time and not mucking around with it. So there's another litre, we're up to the 21 litre mark. This will be about just over about 5%ish. Give it a good stir. Temperature's come down to about 21.2 I can see, which is fine for pitching. It's actually perfect temperature that I wanted it. Don't need the spoon anymore. There's the yeast. I'm just using the Cooper's yeast, as I said before. You could hydrate it if you want. They actually recommend just sprinkling it on top. Don't worry about that. That's how you do it. That will get down to the beer in no time. So here's a little tip. If you're going to carry your fermenter somewhere else, like I'm going to have to, don't put any liquid in your airlock just yet. Make sure it's sanitised, of course. And just whack it in. Top it up when you get it to where you want to go. So anyway, put this somewhere nice and stable. Try and keep the temperature around 21 degrees. They suggest for this. I think anywhere from 18 to 22, you're probably fine. Once the bubbles slow down and the krausen drops, which is the foam on top that the yeast causes, it's time to dry hop. In the instructions it says 3 or 4 days. In my experience, it's more like 5 days, 6, 7 sometimes, depending on how fast. If you're in a really warm climate and you can't keep it cool, sometimes it'll be done in a couple of days. That's when you dry hop. We'll come back and I'll show you when I'm doing that. So there we go there. I've left a little bit longer. It's about 6 days in now, and it actually, everything's dropped down. I don't know if you can see that, the foam. There's a mark up there where the foam used to be, the krausen. You can see it's dropped down. The bubble's still bubbling once every blue moon. But so it's time to dry hop. Open the lid. Got my 25 grams of Galaxy and 25 grams of Topaz. As I said, I'll put up the substitutes on Cellar Dwellers if you can't get these particular hops. So they'll fall in easy. Make sure you don't drop them. Open the lid. Put them in. Put them all in there. And then shut the lid back up. Just like that. Now, there goes my heater, my light. I'll just leave that another 3 days and that should be just about ready to go. You'll notice it just bubbled again then. Sometimes adding the hops will make it bubble again. If you wanted, you could take a reading as well now, just to see where you're at. I know I'm just about finished. And then I'll take a reading, as I said, in about 3 days, and I think we'll be done. It's up to you whether you cold crash it or not. You don't have to. I'll cold crash this because I'm going to keg it. It just makes it a bit cleaner with the hops in it, but you don't need to. Once it's finished, bottle, keg, it'll be beautiful. Okay, so here we are several weeks later. I'm just in the shed mucking around with party tap. I've never used these little party taps, or whatever you call them, before. Just seeing how it would go if I took it to a mate's house. But this is the Cooper's here in the keg. Cooper's Hop Slam, Australian version. Just pour one. I've turned the gas right off actually, because it seems to be pouring better for now. But there you go. There it is there. Get out of the way. Not sure how well you can see that. It's really nice and clear. Now the aroma, yeah, you can smell the hops there. They say they aroma the Cooper's IPA can with Asterian Golding from memory. And we added the Topaz and the Galaxy. Look, that's a nice beer. I'm not sure, to me, because I'm used to extremely hoppy beers, I wouldn't call it a hop slam. It's got a nice bitterness to it.
but I don't get a huge hop flavour like you'd expect from an IPA these days. It's still okay. I'd prefer a different yeast to the Cooper's yeast. I suspected that. Maybe it's just me that I'm not a real fan of the Cooper's yeast much. You know, if you're not expecting a huge American IPA, that's not a bad first step into a hoppy IPA for home brewing and extract wise. Now there is different versions of this I've noticed on the Cooper's site. In the different countries they use different hops for their hop slang. I think, this is from memory, the New Zealand was something like Matuka. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. That's how we pronounce it in Australia. And I think it might have been Bramling Cross in the UK. So that's from memory. But if I brew it again, I would if I was in a pinch. I might use a different hop. I might use a Cascade and a Mosaic or something like that for the aroma. And I'd probably use a different yeast, like a US-05, and I'd probably ferment it a little bit cooler than what was suggested. I'd probably ferment it down at 19 degrees Celsius. But anyway, cheers. Take it easy. If you've heard any noises, it's my assistant here. I'll show you. Holly, smile for the camera. No? She just wants a beer. See ya.